Gentlemen of the press, we have convened this press to inform Liberia and the world that yesterday the National Executive Committee of the People's Unification Party alongside the Governing Council convened in a joint section and adopted a resolution suspending Samuel Gongben Koga, National Chairperson of the People's Unification Party. So today is intended to read that resolution for the hearing of the Republic and for the understanding of the major stakeholders in our electoral process. So I'd just like to proceed with that. Joint resolution of the Governing Council and National Executive Committee of the People's Unification Party suspending the National Chairman Samuel G. Koga. Whereas the continuous peace and tranquility of the party is paramount to maintaining sanity and unity amongst ourselves at all times, taking cue from Article 8.0 of the Bylaws and Constitution, which admonishes the party to adhere to consensus building to uphold national unity and harmony, and subsequently to a quorum of simple majority vote of the Governing Council and the National Executive Committee, extremely cognizant of Article 16.0a, which provides that the removal of an elected official shall be based on gross breach of duties and or acts incompatible with the norms of the party, and said removal shall be by 2/3 membership of the Executive Committee through a hair count vote taken and announced by the presiding officer and recorded by the Secretary General. Now therefore, and in light of the foregoing, we, the undersigned members of the National Executive Committee and the Governing Council, do hereby adopt, proclaim, and publish this joint resolution on the following counts to wit. 1. That the National Executive Committee and the Governing Council of the People's Unification Party, convening in a joint section on Wednesday, April 26, 2023, do hereby suspend the National Chairperson, Samuel G. Koga, with immediate effect for indulging into acts incompatible with the norms of the party, such as supporting and sustaining belligerent behaviors and dragging the image of the People's Unification Party into public disrepute. 2. That prior to this suspension, the Governing Council and the National Executive Committee convened on April 18, 2023 and constituted an internal investigative committee to probe the repugnant behaviors of the National Chairperson, and pursuing its objectives, the committee duly invited Mr. Samuel G. Koga, who refused to submit to the internal investigative process, thereby propelling the cause for the suspension of the National Chairperson. 3. That in lieu of this suspension, the National Chairperson is once again instructed to immediately submit himself to the party's internal investigative process or risk removal from the national chairmanship of our party. 4. That the public is hereby advised to desist doing any business with Mr. Samuel G. Koga in the name of the People's Unification Party, whilst serving his suspension, as anyone doing so will bear the risk of his or her action. In expression of our commitment and profound will, we do hereby affix our signatures in the below order to wit. Benjamin Kekula Kalala Masakwe, Vice Chair for Administration, signed. Bishop A. Dulu Kekula, Vice Chairperson for Religious Affairs, signed. L. Moses Kiyam Kwiha, National Secretary General, signed. Abel White Dulukala, National Treasurer, signed. Mayo E. Witness, Assistant Secretary for Finance, signed. Sitakon W. Tippison, Assistant Secretary for Research and Records, signed. Amos Y. Flumo, Advisory Council Chairperson, signed. Catherine Tamata, Women Congress Chairperson, signed. Morris Barbie Sr., Mosurado County Chairperson, signed. William K. Smooth, Pong County Chairperson, signed. Benedict Freeman, Grand Jida County Chairperson, signed. William Subusu, Lofa County Chairperson, signed. Jeffrey S. Carter, Bapolu County Chairperson, signed. Ansu G. Vild, Grand Cape County Chairperson, signed. Christopher M. Zwana, Bomi County Chairperson, signed. Solomon P. Baji, Grand Passer County Chairperson, signed. Patrick Cole, Riverside County Chairperson, signed. David Cherry, Sino County Chairperson, signed. James M. Kule, Member, Legislative Caucus, signed. James Emmanuel Nunkwe, Member, Governing Council, signed. Edward W. Kafia, Secretary, Governing Council, signed. Tupa J. Mova, Chairperson, Governing Council, signed. Thank you very much.
All right, so I have two questions. My name is Prince. I report for Prime FM, and I also report for the US-based Focus on Liberia Television Online. I have a few concerns. One, the People's Unification Party about a week ago endorsed the CDC for its second time bid. Since that pronouncement was made, the chairman has been in the press with some dissatisfaction. He said that expressing his dissatisfaction that have caused this action of his suspension. That's the first part of my question. The second part is the PUP in 2017 supported the United Party. Even the vice running mate or vice presidential candidate came from the People's Unification Party at the time. Why is it this time around when you are even condemned the government on record for other things? I mean, endorsing the CTC at this crucial time. What is responsible for that? Those are my two concerns. Will you also come with that?
Well, ever since we came from Kanta City, Nimba County, and elected the chairman Samuel G. Koga as national chairman for the party, he has consistently had himself involved with belligerent behaviors, always challenging the authority of the governing council and always disrespecting the national leadership of the party. We have tried as much as we could to manage and control and keep his misbehavior and belligerent attitudes under control, but to no avail. Mr. Koga has always been in the business of seizing party documents, especially when the governing council and the National Executive Committee convened a meeting, resolved, and came up with a press statement. A meeting that was presided over by Samuel Koga came up with a press statement, signed. He collected the money to issue the press statement and refused to issue the statement. We think this is gross disrespect to party function. We think this is gross disrespect to the bylaws and constitution. We also see this as anti-party activity. And we cannot continue to put up with such attitude. We cannot continue to put up with such attitude. Challenging the authority of the governing council, and by the way, let me say to you that the governing council in line of authority is next to the National Convention, and that the executive committee is still in line. So we have the National Convention, the governing council, and the executive committee. When the governing council and the executive committee convene and take a decision in a joint section, that decision becomes binding. The only function of the party that has the authority to reverse that decision is the National Convention. So Mr. Koga had always tried to assume the responsibility of the National Convention, even in the absence of the convention. And we think this is not the best way to proceed with running a political party. We established a governing council because we knew that a day like this will come within the institution. that we do not want to entertain people, belligerent forces coming to our institution and trying to wreck it from within. And we will also not entertain the attitude of any fifth columnist that you think you come into the institution and you want to wreck it from the top. So we decided to nail that for once. And so the governing council and the executive committee convened and took that decision.
I was asking your decision to have joined the CDC this time around. Was
that decision was held, we had convened as executive committee under the presiding chief of Samuel Koga as national chairman then. He presided over that meeting. And we unanimously decided. He did not express dissent. That I know for the record as Secretary General, he did not express dissent. In fact, I should say this to you, that there was a motion for reconsideration. Mr. Samuel G. Koga used his gavel and denied that motion.
Faber.
No, that is not important for now. But I mean, it is important to say that there was a motion on the floor for a motion for reconsideration. And Samuel Koga defeated that motion by authority of the gavel as national chairman of the party, then, presiding over the meeting. He did not express dissent. How do you come out of there and you jump in the public like some grasshopper that is caught up in turbulence? This is not how people run political institutions. We are not running a quasi-ghetto. This is a registered political party, and if you have an issue, the best way to address it is to address it through the right functions.
Okay, before my colleagues come in, let me just ask the last one. So what impact does it have, does the decision of suspending the chairman, the national chairman, who is also an aspirant in the upcoming election? What impact does this decision have on his election as one and other members of the party who will be aspiring for position across the country? What do you think?
Well, I don't want to get myself concentrated on the impact on his elections. But I will say that as a politician, it's always good to choose a battle. Mr. Koga does not know what battle to choose. He does not know what battle to fight. He fights everybody. He fights everywhere. And he does so at the same time. So whatever the fate is, I mean, his people in District 5 are going to determine that one. But in terms of the party...
Will you still support him, even though suspended?
He's suspended. I mean, he's suspended and ongoing investigation. So we wait for the result of the investigation. Because the executive committee, the constitution is clear that the executive committee could, as a result of the investigative process, we could acquit or we punish. So he's under suspension for now.
In your statement, you said if he refuses, you're going to let him go. If you let him go, will you stay? I mean, would there be a blow against him?
I keep saying his people will decide. Okay. But if he thinks that's the best thing to do, I mean, to cause chaos and try to plant seed of discord everywhere you go, then that's it. But the people of District 5 in Nimba County are resilient people. So they will make that determination by themselves. Because if you're everywhere all the times and you are the son of the people, everywhere you go, there's this belligerent attitude that is pursuing you. Everywhere you go, you are involved with plenty seeds of discord. Everywhere you go, you are involved with confusion. Then they should speak something to them.
All right.
My name is Pius. I report for ABC Radio in Liberia. My concern has to do what are you people, if I say you people, the governing council and that of the executive committee of the PUP. You people at any point in time call Representative Koga for a meeting before suspending him?
Oh yes, we said it. And if you listen to the letter of the resolution, we had constituted a committee that is chaired by the advisory council chairperson to 7-member committee to investigate the action of Mr. Koga. The committee invited him. He deliberately refused to attend. So even the internal investigative processes, he's absconding from everything. So it means that he knows that he has skeletons in the closet and he doesn't want those skeletons to be exposed. And we cannot continue to put up with that attitude.
Who's acting in his absence?
As it is, the Constitution is clear that once we remove a leader, the next in line, obviously, assumes, pending the appointment of a partisan by the governing council to end the unexpired tenure.
Who's next in line?
So the next in line for now is the vice chair for administration.
Okay, thank you.
Then,
Oh, I mean, sorry, gentlemen. This is bothering me. What prompted the PUP's decision to have endorsed the current ruling party? What can you tell the Liberian people? What are you seeing?
Look, there are a number of
Going
issues
on record for condemning this government.
There are a number of issues we have in this republic. Equity is a fundamental principle that everybody must respect. Since the cessation of hostilities in Liberia in 2003, we as a country provided the opportunity for the Unity Party and for Western Liberia. Madam Salif then in 2005 had come fronting for the presidency of this country and openly informed and promised the Liberian people that she needed only a single tenure, single term. When she got it, she had to come back to appeal for a second term. We had to offer her the opportunity for a second chance because the first term was marked by serious challenges. Serious challenges. We had debts, we had issues with our national integrity, foreign policy everywhere. So much we had on hand. And we could understand that reasonably, the first 6 years was not just enough for her to have delivered, for the Unity Party to have delivered. And it was also not just enough for us to have condemned them on the basis of that. So, using that same parity of reasoning, power has shifted to the Southeast. They've gone for the first 6 years. Can we allow them to sail through for a second 6 year as we allow the people for the Western region or the Western cluster 12 years? Can we allow these people an opportunity to exercise their 6 years tenure and be able to see what difference they can bring? Because let me tell you this, Prince. The first 6 years of this regime has been turbulent, just as the first 6 years for Ellen was turbulent. We had issues. We got COVID-19, so much issues hitting the world, global recession, and all of that compared to the past 6 years. So where we are, we think it's important for the people of the Southeastern region to sail through, complete their tenure, and so we can shift power from Southeastern Liberia. Then we come to the North Central region. Isn't that reasonable?
Just one quick question. There are allegations in the public that you received a whooping $3 million to sell out to the CDC. That is that information.
But I hope the CDC had that kind of money to give. I really hope so. $3 million, that's astronomical, that's so huge. But let me say this to you. Even if we had made a decision in favor of the Unity Party, it would have been also speculated that we receive money. So we are a decent party. Except those from the Unity Party who say to us that when we decided in their favor in 2017, they paid us for it. Except they can say that. So they should not be the one running here and there talking about being paid for money. When we're making decisions, we make our decision based on.
I didn't say Unity Party. I said there are conversations in the public that you did pay for play.
But obviously, I will understand one who make the deduction that the Unity Party is the one that is seriously challenged for the CDC. And so making our decision for and in favor of the CDC is absolutely based on our clear conscience. It's absolutely based on the parity of reasoning that we raise on the question of equity. And it's also based on what we know that our people, in the end, will ultimately decide for the CDC.
Thank you so much. All right, so folks, my name is Prince. His name is Moses Kiyankoya. He's the National Secretary General of the People's Unification Party there. Thanks for following. Thanks for watching.
We have.